Good morning, Fred, and other people. Apparently, hang on if I switch to my other screen. Apparently, we have 3 people watching, which is interesting. Also, you can't see me at the minute because I've got my thing on. Hang on. Whoop, there we go. Now you can see me. It's a bit nerve-wracking starting on camera. I don't often start on camera, but I don't have a starting screen for my Dragon Age Talkie live streams yet. And I've now switched to my other screen where I can't see how many people are watching, which makes me feel better. I'm just casually sitting here reading my PC Gamer thing that came through the door yesterday. You know. Anyway, how are you, Frederick? You are in the kitchen finishing up making breakfast. Okie dokie. That's alright. So, yeah, I'm reading about tongue party. I find it funny when I read PC Gamer because sometimes I'm like, there's like games in here that are apparently coming out and I've like never heard of them. I feel like I know most games and then like new ones come out. What? Yeah, sure, something like that. Right, okay, so switch my thing. Oh, it's alright, we've lost a viewer, that's okay. That makes me feel a bit better. Fred's still brewing his coffee. I've got tea. Oh, this is exciting, actually. This is exciting. Hang on. Hang on. Look, look, look. Remember in the last Dragon Age Talkie live stream where I said I need a Dragon Age mug? I got a Dragon Age mug. Look. I found it. I was in, what's it called? Forbidden Planet. And I found a Dragon Age mug. I was like, ah! I thought I was going to have to go on Redbubble and go searching. Tongue party. Yes, you heard that right, Fred. That's what it said. I think that's what it said. Did I read that? I was just flicking through. Hang on. Where was it? Oh, it was in here somewhere. Yeah, it probably said tough party or something like that. I'm sure it said tongue party. I just thought, you remember when we did our little Discord only crack and banter live stream? And we sat here and read PC Gamer for like 2 hours or something. That was quite fun. Just, you know, if the conversation drifts from Dragon Age. Which it might do, because, you know, it's me. Right. That's how you spell tongue, isn't it? No, it's not tongue. I read it as tongue. Ooh. There you go, that's what it actually said. I read it as tongue. I was like... Shows you where my mind is this morning. Dear me. I've got chocolate. I've been baking this morning because one of the girls at work asked me if I would make her a ginger cake if she paid me. Because I bake stuff and take it into work quite a lot. And she asked me that if she paid me, would I make her a ginger cake? And I went, yeah, sure. I've made a ginger cake once in my life about 5 years ago, and cake scares me because you never know if it's cooked or not until you cut into it. And I can't give her a cake that I've cut into. So I've made her a ginger cake and hopefully it's alright. And then I made some cheese scones, and then I thought, wouldn't it be good to bake something sweet to have for the live stream? And I haven't, so I've just got chocolate instead. But boring old chocolate to eat. I don't like having the camera there. I prefer it when it's over there, but I've got me thing, haven't I? Because there we go. That's all of my notes from the last Dragon Age live stream. Yeah. Go back onto me for a second though. I'm sure you want to watch me eat chocolate. Right. So in the last Dragon Age Talkie live stream, we sort of laid out a general outline of all my wardens. Did we get to my Inquisitors? I can't remember. It was like 3 weeks ago, wasn't it? We did. So we went through my Wardens and we went through my Inquisitors. And what I feel should become of them all. And then we had a brief overview of like my ideas for Ferelden. And I think we were planning to sort of focus more on like Ferelden. What my personal Ferelden ends up looking like. That's kind of what we're going to go for. That's what we were going to do. That's what we were going to do. Whether we end up doing that or not, who can say? I'm going to sit here and drink my tea for a little bit. Wait for Fred to come back. See if we've got anybody actually watching. Yeah, we've got 2 viewers. They both might be Fred though. We did have 3 briefly. We had 3 people waiting. I was like, you know, and then they saw my face and they were like, nah, which is fine. Okay. I understand, don't worry. Oh dear. So yeah, the trouble is, you see, right at this moment, my mind is in Mass Effect. I've got into a Mass Effect phase. I've been playing Mass Effect. I might have been recording some Mass Effect. There might be a Mass Effect series coming. Maybe. I haven't decided yet. I've recorded... So, I stopped recording normal playthroughs of things because I find the live streams more fun. And recording just a normal playthrough on your own, I don't know, I find it a bit lonely now. It's weird, I don't like not having the chat there. But then I thought, the trouble with the live streams is, the chat kind of distracts me. And we end up going off on random tangents and talking about God knows what, and then like the story gets kind of lost. Which is fine if we're just having a bit of fun, but if I was going to do like a Mass Effect playthrough, the story's quite central. And I wouldn't want the story to get lost. So what I thought, well, what I'll try and do is I'll try and record a Mass Effect series. But I'll do it like I'm doing a live stream, if you see what I mean. So it won't be edited particularly. It'll be quite, I don't know, like a sort of quite chill Mass Effect series where I'm not particularly trying to be entertaining or anything, I'm just playing Mass Effect. While talking extensively about Mass Effect, because I'm a Mass Effect nerd. But I've recorded like 2, but I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do it yet or not. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like the idea. I don't know if it works really. But it might be a thing that crops up at some point. But yes, I've just gone very, 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 very deep into Mass Effect. I've been rereading all my Mass Effect fanfiction and everything. I've been watching just clips of Samara because she's my favourite character. She's genuinely my favourite character in all of Mass Effect. Yes, even more favourite than Liara. I know. Liara's second favourite, but I find Samara so interesting. And I love writing fanfictions about her. And I've gone back to Living Legends and I'm working on that again now. And I'm just like, I can never just stick to one thing. Can I? Never stick to one thing and focus on it. Next month it'll be something else. I despair of myself. So this might end up becoming... it might end up becoming a Mass Effect talking live stream. But you know, we'll try and focus on Dragon Age, if at all we can. Wait for Fred to come back. It's such a cool mug as well. Look at it. It's proper cool. I was so chuffed when I found that in Forbidden Planet. It's proper cool. I also got a little thing of postcards with all of the Veil God companions on. And I got a ton of other shit as well, but they weren't Dragon Age related. Oh, they had the Mass Effect board game though. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't get it because it was like 40 quid or something stupid, but I thought that was kind of cool. So, oh god, we're back to 3 viewers. Fucking hell. Fred's here, just juggle. Okay, cool. So, I don't know, how, juggling coffee and eggs and, oh, Scrapple, oh, we've talked about Scrapple before, I can't remember what you said Scrapple was. It's something. It sounds like a good Sunday breakfast though. Sundays are made for cooking breakfasts, aren't they? I mean, I had turkey rashers in a sandwich. That's what I have most mornings, to be fair. And then I made a chilli. And whenever I make a chilli, I always make cheese scones to go with it. Because it's just the nicest thing to dip cheese scones into a chilli. And that's what I had for my lunch. And I've actually got chilli down my t-shirt. I don't know if you can see. I don't, not loads. There's somewhere, there's a bit there. I've got some chilli down my t-shirt. Oh, I'm live on the internet with chilli down my t-shirt. It's alright though, isn't it? Scrapple is pig parts ground up into blocks you fry up. Pig parts. Sounds very appetizing. Me some pig parts for breakfast. Right, so do we want to dive straight into Dragon Age? Do we want to do that? So if we're going to do Ferelden, because last time, yes. I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at planning things. I think my brain just doesn't work properly. So what we did was we laid out all of my wardens and all of their various different fates in my canon world state, right? So they all go off and do other things. Some of them become Grey Wardens, some of them become agents of the Inquisition, etc. Because obviously they can't all become the hero of Ferelden in the same world. And then I did the same for my Inquisitors, and then I sort of laid out a bit about what I like to think happens to Ferelden, and I think we were going to like narrow in on Ferelden and Vigil's Keep, because I have a sort of, I was going to say I've got a fan fiction planned. It's the kind of fan fiction I'm probably never going to write. Some of my fan fictions that I have planned, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to write that. I just like to plan it. And then other ones, I'm like, I probably am going to write that. Dragon Age is what we're here for, not Mass Effect or Scrapple. Well, it's my live stream, Fred. We'll be here for whatever I bloody well decide we're here for. Maybe I just decide we want to talk about something else. What are you going to do about it? What was I just saying? Yes, so one of my planned fanfictions that I'm probably not going to write, but still like to have planned, is like a Vigil's Keep one that follows the hero of Ferelden and how she sort of like rebuilds the Ferelden Grey Wardens, right? And she'll have like an inner circle of Grey Wardens around her, and then like how her and Honora rebuild Ferelden and take Ferelden in new directions. Should we start with that? If we go to... Boop. That was what we wrote last time. Look, that was what we wrote last time. Sorry, Fred's making me giggle. So, oh yeah, we also had, we were coming up with names for Honora's children, weren't we? Because I've got this idea that Honora is going to marry Fergus Cousland, and they're going to have 3 daughters. And I was coming up with names for them. And we got Karis, which was what I've always had in my head, and then we got Ailey, which I quite like, and then that was going to be Erin, but I'm an and an ahhing on that one, but we'll get to that. Anyway, so, and then this was all of our Vigil's Keep Wardens. So, my idea for the fan fiction, move my keyboard over there, put that where you can actually maybe see it, possibly, perhaps. Oh yeah, that was all my little fan fiction ideas that I had. So, the idea for the fan fiction that I'm probably not going to write is that it would be like a set of short stories, at least to begin with, about how each one of the wardens becomes a warden, if you see what I mean. I'll explain as we're going on. So if we do like vigils, keep wardens. Look at my nice neat handwriting. It's not going to stay neat. It never does. So we have a list of all of Elia's. Elia is my canon warden, in case you've forgotten. Of all of Elia's Grey Wardens, right? And then, obviously, some of them are going to be the ones from Awakening, so we know how they become a Grey Warden. But it would be like a series of short stories set after Awakening. And each one would be like how each one gets recruited, right? Right? I mean, I don't necessarily know how each one is going to get recruited. I haven't thought that far ahead, but you know, we can make it up as we go along. Sorry, Fred's just telling me things. Right, so we've got. Well, obviously we've got Warden Commander Elia, right? Who is obviously the hero of Frozen. And then I'm going to have Valana as her Warden Constable, who is the one under her. Warden Constable Valana. And then we're going to have Nathaniel, obviously. I'm not going to bother giving them all warden titles. Nathaniel. Is it EL or AL? Let's say EL. How? And then we'll have Sigrun, obviously. Ogryn. How do you spell Ogryn? Is that how you spell Ogryn? Viral Effect is here, Soulmate is here. And the Hound, don't forget the Hound. Oh yeah, the Hound doesn't turn up in Awakening, does he? For reasons that are never made clear. But then he does turn up in Witch Hunt. Yeah, ha 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 ha. Well, we're obviously not going to have Justice or Anders, because they disappear off. Am I missing anyone? I did like the idea that like the opening story could be like the aftermath of Justice and Anders escaping. So it could like open with them trying to hunt them down like through the deep roads, like chasing them, and then Elia in the end decides to let him go. And this is going to be like a whole thing. I was going to have this whole thing that like in the early days after the Blight, she's basically just recruiting anybody she can find because she needs to rebuild the Grey Wardens, right? Doesn't Sigrun leave in the epilogue? I ignore the epilogue. I don't pay attention to the epilogue. Most of the stuff, well, a lot of the stuff in the Origins epilogue ends up being like rewritten in later games. So I kind of just ignore the epilogue. I'm just like, yeah, none of that happened. If it didn't happen in a cutscene, it didn't happen. Have you had your lunch yet? Says Viral Effect. Yes, I had chili con carne and cheese scones. That's what I had. I homemade cheese scones that I made myself, and I had 2 of them, which was maybe a bit too much, to be honest, because I make big cheese scones. The recipe that I use I mean, I've tweaked it a bit because I always tweak recipes. But the original recipe that I used to make cheese scones said you're supposed to get 12 scones out of it, and I get 4. Because I make them like that, they're huge. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, so like in the early days, Elia's just like recruiting anybody she can find because she needs to rebuild the Ferelden Grey Wardens, right? And she's not a very experienced Grey Warden. I mean, I know she's like defeated a Blight and everything, but she's only been a Grey Warden for like what, a year. So she's just recruiting whoever she can find. And then it starts to dawn on her that, like, becoming a Grey Warden is a really big deal. And, like, and it's not just a really big deal because it's, like, dangerous physically, but mentally it takes a toll on you because you can hear the Darkspawn and things like that, and I mean, it completely changes your life. And maybe she should be being a bit more discerning about who she recruits, because it's not just important to work out if they could physically survive the joining, but if they would be mentally strong enough to actually cope with the life of a Grey Warden. And Anders wasn't, and she sort of blames herself for Anders kind of going a bit off the rails. I mean, I know you could say that it's him joining with Justice that makes him go off the rails, and I think that's part of it, but I think becoming a Grey Warden kind of messed him up a little bit as well. So I sort of got this in my head that, like, she feels guilty about making Anders a Grey Warden because she thinks mentally he couldn't really cope with it. And that's why he ends up, you know, joining with Justice and running away and everything. And I thought you could have them, like, hunting him down, but then in the end she makes the decision to let him go because she feels guilty about, like, forcing the life of a Grey Warden upon him. But then, of course, he's going to go on to blow up the Chantry and Kirkwall, so then she feels guilty again. Basically, Elia's whole life story is just feeling a lot of guilt about things. Because, you know, she's a video game protagonist and that's how it goes. So yeah, I thought it would be fun if we had that as, like, the opening story. Or, like, the opening of the first... Because it's going to be, like, a series of short stories. So, like, the opening of the first short story would be, like... them hunting Anders down through the deep roads, and then Elia, like, has the chance to get him and she decides to just let him go. Yeah, and then it would jump into, like, her recruiting new wardens but trying to be a bit more discerning about it because, yeah. So obviously these are the 4 that you end up with from Awakening. I haven't missed anybody, have I? I don't think I've missed anybody. And then she is going to recruit. Just refer back to my previous notes. I mean, I should have them memorised, but, you know, it's me. Right. So... So, just to remind you, we had... Carver is going to join her, because I've got... In my Canon Hawk is a mage, and she makes Carver a Grey Warden. And then I've decided Carver is going to end up... Well, Stroud is going to take Carver to Vigil's Keep, and he's going to end up serving under Elia. That's my plan. And then we've got Shakar and Constance. So, Shakar was my Dalish elf warden, and the story I'm going with is that if Duncan doesn't rescue him, he leaves his clan and he spends the Blight sort of wandering around trying to find a cure for the taint, and he runs into Constance, who is my mage, my human mage, and if Duncan isn't there to rescue her, she ends up... Sorry, I'm reading the chat. She ends up... Well, the Templars try to take her to A&R, and she escapes and ends up becoming an apostate and goes on the run. And they run into each other. And Constance is a healer. So she manages to sort of keep Shakar alive throughout the Blight, despite the fact that he's infected with the Taint. And then, after the Blight is over, they travel to Vigil's Keep because they come to the conclusion that the only cure for Shakar is to become a Grey Warden. So they end up at Vigil's Keep and basically ask Elia to make him a Grey Warden. Which she does. And then the Templars find Constance and they're going to take her away. And Elia makes her a Grey Warden as well to save her from that, right? Right? Yeah. So that was the story for Shakar and Constance. So they kind of get recruited together. So, I suppose... Where's my thing? Oh! So we've got... Shakar and Constance. And then we're going to have Carver. And then we were going to have our noble dwarf. And can anybody remember what name we came up with? I can't remember. I have to go back through. Kaylor. That was it, wasn't it? We're going to have Princess Kaylor. Or Kayla. Kayla? Kaylor? Kayla? I like Kaylor. I think that sounds dwarfy. We would have... There we go. I did once upon a time have an idea that I was going to make Sir Corthrian a Grey Warden as well. I like the idea that, like, assuming she survives, which she does in my canon playthrough. I like the idea that, like, because she was so loyal to Loghain, in the aftermath of the Blight, she's quite sort of ostracised. And Honora kind of sends her to become a Grey Warden, and she ends up at Vigil's Keep and becomes one of the Grey Wardens. I don't know, do we like that idea? Because I've always liked Sir Corthrian. She's one of those characters who, like, she doesn't appear very much and you don't know very much about her, and yet somehow she sort of captures me for some reason, and I don't quite know why. There's something about her that I'm just like, you're a bit interesting. I can never quite decide if I want to go down that route or not. I don't know, what do we think? What are our opinions on the idea of making Sir Corthrian one of the Grey Wardens? She's kind of cool, and she's got Samantha's voice from Mass Effect. And I'm in a Mass Effect phase at the minute. I'm very, 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 very angry that they're making a Mass Effect series. I cannot deal with it. We're going off on a little Mass Effect tangent. Alright, I promise this won't take over the whole live stream, but I'm so genuinely furious that they're making a Mass Effect. Do we know anything about it? Because I haven't read any of the articles or anything, because I just don't want to know. You know when something offends you so much you just don't even want to... I just don't want to know anything about it. Like, do we know anything about it? Like, when it's going to be set or anything like that? Because I was thinking... Someone has to not survive the joining. Oh, there's a thought. I'm going to have to create a sacrifice, aren't I? We can't have them all survive the joining. You're right, that would be... Sorry, we were on a Mass Effect tangent. I'm getting tangented from my tangents. Yeah, do we know anything about the Mass Effect series? Because I was thinking to myself, if they're going to do, like, a series that just follows the games, and they like casting people as all the characters, I cannot deal with that. There's too many iconic characters. Those characters are too real to me. I could not deal with having somebody play Shepard. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because my Shepard is my Shepard and she is Shepard and there isn't any other Shepard. And I don't even like watching other people's Shepards on like YouTube clips and things. It's not right. But then there's so many iconic voices. You've got people like Garrus. Can you imagine Garrus with a different voice? Tali? Liara has a bloody iconic voice. Samara! You can't have Samara running around with a different voice. I can't deal with it, man. Even Morden, I would put Morden in there. He's got a lovely voice. But then I was thinking, if they did a one that was set like way before the games, set in the Mass Effect universe, but had nothing to do with the Mass Effect games, like say a First Contact War series, I think that would be a good idea. I think that would be a good way of introducing people who are not gamers to the Mass Effect universe. Right? If they did like a First Contact War series. But like none of the characters that we know appear in it. I think that could work. But if you're going to be casting people as like Liara and that, nah, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. And I know you can say that the ideal solution is to just not watch it, but I'll know it exists. I'll know it's out there. Tainting the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think a First Contact War series or something like that, that would be a cool idea. I think that would be great. Some people say they want a First Contact War game. I've never been too keen on that idea. I don't know why, I just think it would be boring. But as a series, I think that would work really well. But if they're just going to follow the game, like, nah. Can't do that. I mean, I know they sort of did it with The Last of Us and things like that, but you can't do it with an RPG. You can't. Because there's a million different versions of the story. However many gamers have played Mass Effect, that's how many versions of the story there are. You can't pick a definitive one. You can't. Which is one of the things that makes me so nervous about Mass Effect 5 as well. I mean, I don't think we know much about that either. I have my personal theory that it's going to be set between Mass Effect 1 and 2. And if that's the case, I'm fine with that. But the general consensus seems to be people are assuming it's going to be set after the war. I can't deal with it being set after the war. No. I don't want that. I've already got my post-war Mass Effect universe. I want a Citadel game. I've said this so many times. I want a game set on the Citadel. Either set before Mass Effect 1, or between 1 and 2, or maybe even during 2, but that has nothing to do with any of like the original trilogy story or anything like that. Just a self-contained little story set on the Citadel with like a big open world version of the Citadel where you can just walk around the Citadel. That would be amazing. And you're like a mercenary or a CSEC officer or I don't know, something. And be able to play as different races. I think that would be cool. That's what I want from a Mass Effect game. But the actual original trilogy needs to just be left alone. It's too perfect. It's too perfect. Like, don't mess with it. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Let it be. Don't be going make an Amazon series of it. I mean, to be fair, I do love reading fan fiction, like fan fictions that are novelizations of the games, because I love seeing how different people envisage their personal Mass Effect universe. I love that. But I don't want somebody to be making a TV series about it, because then that becomes like, you know, the definitive, and there shouldn't be a definitive. That's a no. Still, I mean, it might never happen. We're still in very early days. There's plenty of time for it to get cancelled. Plenty of time for it to get cancelled. So, anyway, what I was saying, so Catherine. Oh, we're debating whether or not Rachni Wars 1 would work without humans. You know something? I wouldn't be our keen on playing a Mass Effect game without humans. And I'll tell you why. I think it's because one of my favourite things about the Mass Effect games, and about sci-fi generally, actually, one of the things I like about sci-fi is the way... I've said this before, but it's the way that it's in a very unique position to, like, explore the human condition because you have got characters who are not human. And in the real world, we don't have that. But in the world of sci-fi, where you've got aliens that you're, like, interacting with, you can view humanity through the eyes of somebody who is not human, and that's one of the things that I love about sci-fi so much. And Mass Effect did it really well. I think Mass Effect did it so well of just, like, exploring what it is to be human and how other races could be different somehow and stuff like that. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about it. It's not so much that I want to play as a human particularly. I just think that that's one of the best aspects of Mass Effect. And Andromeda didn't really touch on it at all. In fact, Andromeda almost completely ignored, like, all the things that made each race unique. And it's so weird because that was, like, a huge focus of the original trilogy, I think. It was, like, focusing on each species and what made each species tick. And what made them... And they were all very complex and vibrant and diverse as well, which I really liked. Like, diverse within themselves, if you see what I mean. Like, there are lots of different types of Asari and lots of different types of Turian and things like that. And Andromeda just sort of, like, ignored all of that, which I thought was quite sad. Right, anyway, yes. Sir Corfrin, right. Okay, so we've got two... Firstly, do we want Sir Corfrin to become a Grey Warden? Secondly, we need someone to not survive the joining. Do we want that to be Sir Corfrin? Or do we want it to be someone else? I mean, if we're going to have a character not survive the joining, and they're specifically there to not survive the joining, I think it would work better if it's someone that we know, wouldn't it? Rather than someone that we just bring in just for the sake of killing them off, like they did with What's Her Name in Awakening. I don't know if I want to kill Sir Corfrin. I kind of like her. I kind of like the idea of bringing her into Vigil's Keep to sort of explore her a little bit more. Who else could we bring in, though? If we were going to bring someone in specifically to have them die in the joining, who could we bring in? Because I've got plans for all of this lot. So it's not going to be... All of these guys are safe. These ones are all safe. I've got plans for them all. I'm going to put Sir Corfrin in. And then we'll see... Is Sir Corfrin? Let's say yes. And then we'll see if we want her to be the one to survive or die. Think of characters from Dragon Age Origins who we could bring in as to die in the who we could bring in to die in the joining. Does anybody leap out at you? If nobody leaps out at us, we might just go with Sir Corfrin. Some of the nobles in the lands, mate. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Fred. I mean, not Fergus, because we're going to have him marry Honora. Not Alfstanner, because I've got plans for her later. Anyone else is pretty much fair game. Let's think. Ooh, maybe like, what if like, what are the Dalish elves, maybe? Because I like the idea that Honora, after the whole sort of Ferelden storyline is going to be how Nora and Elia try to make things better for the elves, particularly the city elves, but she's also going to like forge alliances with the Dalish elves, although only the Dalish elves who are in Ferelden, not like the Dalish elves generally, like the Dalish clan that you encounter in Origins. She sort of like forges alliances with them. But imagine if one of them goes to join the Wardens. Like, because, like, in the immediate aftermath of the Blight, they'll be trying to rebuild Ferelden, right? And Honora's trying to, like, make everybody work together and be friends because they need to rebuild Ferelden. Particularly because, like, in the aftermath of the Blight, they're weakened, so they're more vulnerable to things like invasion. And Olay is just next door. And, you know, Selene doesn't want to invade Ferelden. And she's the one who's on the throne, but we know that a lot of the people in her court do want to, you know, build the empire again. So if Selene was to get assassinated or something, which of course we know doesn't happen, at least not at that point in time, but I mean, Honora will be thinking things like, you know, if Selene got overthrown and somebody else took over, and Olay sees, oh, there's a weakened Ferelden, we could just invade. So, you know, she wants to rebuild Ferelden very quickly, so she needs everybody to work together. So she does things like forges alliances with, yes, the Dalish elves, but also people like the Chastened. She tries to, like, bring them in a little bit more. The dwarves at Orzammar, because the entrance to Orzammar is in Ferelden, so, you know, that kind of thing. So it could be interesting if one of the Dalish elves sort of embraced this idea and decided to, like, give themselves as a Grey Warden, but then dies in the joining. It could cause a bit of a diplomatic incident. I'm just dreaming up storylines here, though. This isn't anything that I'd planned. The kid in Redcliffe who you get the green blade from, I mean, he is a kid. I don't think they're making children undergo the joining. They're not quite that desperate. So Perth the Redcliffe Knight? Maybe. He does seem the sacrificial type, doesn't he? I'm trying to remember who any of the Dalish elves were, though. Oh, there was the scout that you rescued. Can anybody remember what he was called? Was that Dagon? One of them was called Dagon. Was that him? Guy who lost his wife. Yes, I can't remember his name either. Although I think he was a bit old, maybe. I don't want it to be, what's her name? The one who ends up becoming the keeper. I mean, that wouldn't make sense anyway. You're not going to send the keeper to become a Grey Warden, are you? It's the last of my chocolate. Just eat me chocolate. About the two companions from Witch Hunt. Now, when does Witch Hunt take place? Do we know, like, how long after Awakening Witch Hunt actually takes place? don't know. I've got chocolate around my mouth. I might do. Because I was trying to figure out where Witch Hunt would fit in. Like, is it a few years after Awakening, or is it like almost immediately after Awakening? Mm-hmm. 3 years, says Soulmate, possibly. So I don't know, like, if you have Kieran, does she mention like how old he is or anything? I mean, it must have been long enough for her to have him, because I'm sure she mentions, I mean, obviously she's not pregnant at the time. Witch Hunt could be done before Awakening, bloody hell. I don't think that makes much sense though, does it? Because Awakening is like immediately after Blight, more or less, isn't it? Well, I suppose not necessarily. I suppose we could probably just fit Witch Hunt in wherever we want to. Fucking hell, we've got 5 viewers. Jesus Christ. I wish I hadn't looked at that. Just stay in blissful ignorance, Magpie, it's fine. That means we've got at least 2 lurkers. There are lurkers watching a Dragon Age Talkie live stream. That's quite impressive. I like the idea of being Dagon. What, is his name Dagon? I'm going to Google that. I'm going to Google it. With me Googling powers. Dragon Age. Oi! There we go. Dragon Age Dagon. Dagon is one of the hunters. Piss off. Dagon is one of the hunters sent out by Keeper Zothrin to find Witherfang and return with its heart. Dagon is involved in the quest Wounded in the Forest. He can be found east by southwest of the work. Yes, so he's the scout that you rescue, Dagon. I feel like that. I feel like that would be... I like that idea, actually, of having Dagon. But then he dies during the joining. But, so each one would have to be a little short story in and of itself. So obviously, you've got all of this lot who are the Awakening lot. Right, they're all the Awakening lot. And then we would have Shakar and Constance as part of the same story. Right? So, I don't know what order it's going to go in though. I feel like Shakar and Constance would be the first one. So what'll happen is... Yes! Because that would be kind of... Yes, because, all my little brains thinky braining, because, so imagine that you have the first short story opens with them chasing Anders through the deep roads, right? Elia decides to just let him go. They come back to Vigil's Keep. Elia's feeling a bit not great about herself. And Shakar and Constance rock up and say, he's dying from the blight. Will you please make him a Grey Warden? And she's like, I'm already seriously starting to doubt who I'm making Grey Wardens because I made Anders a Grey Warden and he went a bit mental. But, I mean, Shakar's a very, sort of like level-headed character. So in the end, she relents and she makes him a Grey Warden. But then, Constance, who is an apostate, who's on the run, she gets found by the Templars, and the only way to save her from being sent to A&R is to make her a Grey Warden, which is more or less the same situation that Anders was in, although he wasn't going to A&R, he was just going to be taken back to the Circle. So then it's like a repeat of Anders, and she has to, like, try and, like, rationalise whether she really wants to do it or not. That's good, right? I feel like that's good. So that could be, like, the opening one. Right? And then so that's the opening one. I realise I haven't written any of this down, but it's alright, I've said it, so it's fine. This is being recorded live on the internet, it's fine. So that would be like the first story, would be Shakar and Constance. Right? And then each one of these have their own little story attached to them, but what order do we want to do them in? And I don't know what the other ones' stories are going to be. I mean, Carver obviously gets recruited by Stroud in the Deep Roads during the expedition in Dragon Age 2, but my idea is that Stroud takes him to Elia. And Elia is the one who actually makes him undergo the joining. But I have literally no idea, like, what else would even happen in that story. Not a clue. And then Kaelor, who is our noble dwarf, she would obviously have been exiled during her origin, and then Duncan wouldn't have come to save her. So she's probably just been surviving in the Deep Roads all of this time. So I've kind of got it in my head that they're going to stumble across her in the Deep Roads. But how she ends up being made a Grey Warden, or what's going to happen, not a clue. So Corthrian, I've already just decided that we're actually going to make her a Grey Warden. Like I say, I like the idea that Honora basically sends her to become a Grey Warden because people are calling for her to, like, be executed and things like that because of her loyalty to Loghain. And Honora doesn't want to execute her, so she sends her to become a Grey Warden. That's kind of what's going on there. And then Dagon, if we have that as part of some kind of, like, Dalish elf story, where Honora's trying to build alliances with the Dalish elves, and Dagon decides he really believes in this, and he's going to leave his clan to become a Grey Warden to, like, strengthen the ties, and then he ends up dying during the joining. I mean, I'm making all of this up off the top of my head here. So, you know, it's a starting point. Yeah. What do we think? What do we think? If we sit there thinking, oh, I've got a fucking clue, love, didn't follow a word you bloody said. Talk about Mass Effect again. Is there anybody else we want to become a Grey Warden? What that is, actually, I'm going to write in what all of their different roles are within. So we've got Elia, who is obviously the Warden Commander. Valana is going to be her Warden Constable. Nathaniel is sort of going to be a scout. Shakar is also going to be a scout. Constance is the healer. After Anders leaves, she becomes the healer. The rest of them are all just going to be warriors, really, aren't they? There are a lot of threads to keep track of. There's this thread. How do you think I feel? This is just my brain all the time. How my little brain works. My tea's too hot. Stop trying to drink it, it's too hot. Let it cool down. Yeah. Sigrid is a scout. You're right, Sigrid is a scout. Scout. And then I'll put the rest in as just warriors. Not warriors. Ogren's so good, he's 2 warriors combined. Warrior. Oh, I wonder if Kalo could be involved in some kind of like Orzammar storyline, like. I do like a bit of political intrigue. I do like a bit of that. And since she is Balin's sister, and I do put Balin on the throne, so Balin's on the throne. Oh, that could be interesting. What if she like rocks up somehow? She survived the whole blight living in the deep roads, and then she turns up. I can't say, I'm almost certainly never going to write these, you know. But I like planning them, because then once you've got the plans in place, you can write, you know, you can use that as a basis for your other fan fictions. So what could we do? Yeah, because if Balin's on the throne, Kaelor has survived her exile in the Deep Roads. Would she rock up in Orzammar, or would she go to the surface? Oh, what could we do? What sort of Orzammar thing could we do? Some kind of Orzammar-based political intrigue story. That ends with Kaelor having to become a Grey Warden. Ooh. Oh! I'm just thinking, because her and Balin are not going to see eye to eye, are they? I mean, he framed her for what's his name's murder. So oh, little cogs are turning. So imagine, like, say Elia and the Grey Wardens are in Orzammar on some kind of diplomatic mission. I don't know, we'll work out the details in a minute. They're there for some reason. They probably need, like, I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to go to Orzammar a lot, aren't they? If they're going to have to travel into the Deep Roads. Like, the easiest way to get to the Deep Roads is probably through Orzammar, although there'll be other Deep Roads entrance. But I imagine they're going to have to, like, coordinate with the dwarves quite a lot. Because if, like, say they find an entrance to the Deep Roads that needs blocking up or something like that because the Darkspawn are coming out, they might have to, like, coordinate with, I don't know, the Legion of the Dead or just Orzammar generally. I mean, I imagine Orzammar kind of needs to be informed when, like, particular bits of the Deep Roads are being blocked off or whatever. So anyway, imagine that they're like, in Orzammar for whatever reason. Elia and the Grey Ones are in Orzammar. And there's political machinations going on, right? And Kaelor has come back to Orzammar, but, like, in disguise. She's snuck in, right? and she plans to take down Balin and take the throne, right? Because I think she's going to be that kind of character. She's going to be like a bit... she's going to be a bit like that, right? But then something happens. I don't know. Amazing how much of my story planning is just, and then something happens. something happens. And Balin finds out, and he has her arrested, and he's going to have her executed. And Elia conscripts her into the Grey Wardens to save her from execution. Why would Elia do that? Not a flipping clue. Maybe they've got to know each other or something throughout the course of this story. Maybe Elia's found out some things about Balin that she doesn't like so much. Because to be fair, if you don't play the Grey Warden, if you're not playing as a Grey Warden noble, if you're not playing as a Dwarven noble, Grey Warden noble, if you're not playing as a Dwarven noble, if you don't do the Dwarven noble origin story, you don't know all of the dastardly things that go on to make Balin the heir to the throne. I mean, you get a bit of a hint of it from playing just main game, where they're like, where Harriman's saying, oh, we think he poisoned his father and all of this kind of stuff. But like all of the stuff that he did isn't really made clear, unless you play the Dwarven noble origin. So Kalo could maybe be like, well, he sort of killed our brother and framed me for it and got me exiled and all of this kind of stuff. And maybe Elliot decides, maybe I don't like Balin quite so much as what I used to. Is Warden's keep Avernus still alive? He could be the catalyst for quests. Oh yes, that's another thing. Yes, I want to do Avernus stories. Yes, because I like the idea that Elia uses Soldier's Peak as a place to send new Grey Wardens for like training, because it's very out of the way. Like from a strategic point of view, it's not in a good place. Like tactically, yeah, is that a word? Yes. Speaking, like it's not guarding anything. Like, it's high up in the mountains. There's, like, it's not a useful place for there to be a castle, really. Because, like I say, it's not guarding against anything. It's just there. But it's a good place for, like, hiding secrets, I would think. But also a good place to send new recruits while they're sort of, like, coming to terms with what it actually means to be a Grey Warden. Because the Grey Wardens are, yes, the Grey Wardens are so secretive and they have so many secrets. You don't necessarily know what you're getting into when you actually sign up until you've gone through the joining and everything. So as a place to like send new recruits for them to like, you know, come to terms with it all and go through some training and things like that, it's quite a good place. But it's a good place to hide secrets as well. But I like the idea that, because in my canon playthrough, she keeps Avernus alive and lets him continue experimenting, but humanely. But she also drinks the thing that gives her special blood powers. And I kind of like the idea that that becomes a thing that all the Ferelden Wardens do. So, like, Wardens in Olay and things like that don't have this, but the Ferelden Wardens are all, or at least all given the option, to drink from Avernus' special potion that gives them extra powers. And there could be all sorts of secrets hiding up at Soldier's Peak. I mean, of course, you have to remember also that the veil is very thin at Soldier's Peak. I mean, you literally see ghosts the first time you go there, so there could be all sorts of interesting things could go on there. I think Soldier's Peak would be a great place to have some little stories crop up. We've been going for an hour. I'm not writing much of this down, but I feel like talking it, speaking it, saying it is helping make things clearer. At least to me, probably not to the rest of you. But yes, Elia would have a hook on Balin then. Yes! Yes, there's a yes! If she If Kalo has evidence of like dastardly things that Balin's done, I mean, he might even have done. We could even invent like more things that he's done that aren't mentioned in the games. We could just invent stuff of like really awful shit that he's done. Elliot could even maybe be like part of the plot to try and bring Balin down actually and put Kayla on the throne, but then it all sort of comes to light and he's gonna have Kayla executed. But then Elliot's like, nah. She's coming with me and she's gonna be a Grey Warden and I know all the things you've done, Balin. I know all the things you've done. So now you have to keep me happy. That could be quite a fun idea, maybe. Okay, so we've got Shakar and Constance's story fleshed out. We've got Kalo's story a little bit fleshed out. We've got rough ideas. That's good enough for me for now. Carver. Trouble is, Carver's story is kind of covered, isn't it, in the game, sort of. So we have Stroud finding him in the Deep Roads. And then he's going to take him back to Vigil's Keep. And he's going to undergo the joining. So that's how he gets recruited. That's sorted. But then what's going to happen after that? We need something more than that if we're going to have a story around it. Unless he's just going to pop up as part of somebody else's story, maybe. My brain's doing too much thinkiness. I'm not built for this kind of thinkiness. I'm giving myself more questions than answers. I always do this. When I sit down to plan things, it just becomes a complex tapestry of chaos and craziness. That's kind of what I like about it, though. Right, okay, so... Oh, I forgot to put this Gothrid as a warrior. She also uses a... She has a two-handed sword on her back and a shield. Yeah, in the cutscene where Logain pulls out. She has a two-handed sword on her back and a shield. So she uses a two-handed sword one-handed. Which is a bit... sexy, isn't it? A complex tapestry of craziness is a good description of life itself. Yeah. You know when people get those signs that say like, what, like love, laughter, blah blah blah, like those stupid signs that people get to put in their houses. I might just get one that just says a complex tapestry of craziness. Yeah, it's Father's Day today, isn't it? I'm forgetting about that. Well, it's on this side of the Atlantic. I don't know. I don't know about anywhere else. According to my calendar, it is Father's Day in the US as well. There you go. Nobody cares about Father's Day, do they? It's funny, like, when Mother's Day is coming up, the shop always gets really busy, and the day before Mother's Day, it's always just crazy. And yet Father's Day just comes and goes, and... I mean, I was at work yesterday, it wasn't any busier than any other Saturday. No one cares, do they? I mean, it's all just a scam to get you to spend money on shit that you don't need to spend money on, to be fair. Anyway, so trying to think. You see, the trouble is, I've got too many ideas. This is the problem. I've got too many ideas. There aren't enough days in a lifetime to write them all down. But we've got I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna have Dagon be part of some kind of like Dalish political intrigue, which is not something you generally associate with Dalish, but you know what I mean. And then we've got Kaelor as some sort of like dwarven political intrigue. And we've got Sir Corthrian as just some kind of like Ferelden nobility political intrigue, because some people are calling for her to be like executed. And Elliot, well, Honora sends her to become Grey Warden to like save her from that. We're also going to need to have something to do with like the city elves, because you've got a situation where you've got the hero of Ferelden is a city elf and has been made the All of Amaranthine. Shiani is made like Ban of the Alienage, so she's now part of that. So you've now got 2 city elves in the Landsmeet. There's going to be repercussions for that, isn't there? I need like a villain. I need somebody to be plotting against Honora. That's what I need. That's what we need. We need an evil noble who's plotting against Honora because they're really against the whole the fact that she's trying to make things better for the elves. We need someone very anti-elf. That's what we need. Do we have anyone of the people that we already know of, or should we invent someone? I mean, there's Vaughn, I suppose. But I don't think that he's, like, politically evil. He's just a cunt. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a person, he's a cunt. But I don't think he's, like, clever enough to be a sort of political kind of threat. Plus, he's dead because Elia kills him in her origin story. So yeah, well, no. I was going to say, he spends the war being tortured in All House Dungeon, doesn't he? But I was like, no, not in your canon world state, because in your canon world state, your Grey Warden is a city elf, so she kills him in her origin story. So yeah, not Vaughn, because he's dead. Who else is there? Well, there's Alfstanna, but it's not going to be her, because she's awesome. There's Wolf, who's a bit of a grumpy old man, but I don't really see him as a sort of, like, scheming kind of... That's what we need. We need a schemer, don't we? We need a schemer. We need somebody to be... Like, what's his name from Musketeers? What was he called, man? The Cardinal. In the BBC Musketeers show, he was played by Peter Capaldi. And then they had to kill him off when Peter Capaldi became Doctor Who. But he's in the Three Musketeers books as well, the Cardinal. I can't remember his name. But he's like proper political schemer. Kind of, I love characters like that. I think if there is anyone. I mean, if there's not, we can just create our own. But let's just think. there's anybody we could pick to be our villain. While we're thinking about it, I'm going to take a quick break. Put the kitten break screen up, wherever it is. Where's the kitten break screen? There we go. Put the kitten break screen up. I shall be back in a moment and we can have a little think about who we want our villain to be. Okay, I am back. If I put... That's the one, isn't it? Yes. Right. Okay, so I've been thinking. I've been thinking with my little thinky brain. So, do hope you can hear me. With things telling me that you might not be able to hear me. Let's hope you can hear me. I'll wait until Fred says I can hear you or I can't hear you. It's telling me the audio bit rate is 0, which is what it did the last time when it told me that you couldn't hear me. And then when I went back and watched the bloody thing, you actually could hear me. Oh, I'm assuming you can hear me. Fred's not saying that you can't hear me. Right, okay, so... oh, Scorpio? What are you doing? Oh, you're messing with the camera, Scorps. What's going on? Should we put full cat cam on? What? Yeah? He's annoyed with me because I put his flea drops on him. Didn't I? I put flea drops on you. Because it's the season, Scorps. It's the season of fleas. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's lovely. You just drag that all the way over there, why don't you? Hi. Oh, I love you too. Yes, I do. Very much. Mm-hmm. Hi. You okay? Yeah, have you got ideas about Dragon Age? Mm-hmm. I'm all ears. You tell me your Dragon Age ideas. Yeah? Yeah. I'll come up here. We can put full cat cam on if you want. While I talk about stuff. Yeah. Put full cat cam on. There we go. There we go. Oh. Yeah. So, what I was going to say was, I like Fred's idea of making the villain someone from Vaughn's family, because then you've got the added thing of like Vaughn was killed by the hero of Ferelden, who was a city elf, right? And then the hero of Ferelden has gone on to become a hero and has been made all of Amaranthine and all of that shit. Yeah. So you've got the added like bitterness there towards city elves. If it was like a sibling of Vaughn's maybe, or like an aunt or an uncle. Do we want a girl villain or a boy villain? There's a question. And we need to come up with a name. I love coming up with names. I love coming up with names. So do we want a girl villain or a boy villain, do we think? Who's like plotting against Honora, trying to bring Honora down. Plotting against Elia, has a vendetta against elves. But particularly plotting against Honora, like Honora's rival. Just close that because you're going to knock it over, I can tell. Aren't you? Yes, you are. Hello. You so beautiful. You so beautiful. Yes. Come on, let's get your face on camera. We'll get a few more viewers. We will. We'll get a few more viewers. I mean, that's your arse. They don't want to see your arse, Scorpio. Come here. Whoa! There we go. Let them see your beautiful, beautiful face. I like the idea of having a girl villain. What do we think? No, don't put your head down there, Scorpio. They need to see you. Otherwise they can just see me and I'm not as pretty. I mean, I'm very pretty, but I'm not as pretty. I'm not as pretty as you. Oh dear. Do you think you can write better a male or female villain? Oh, I think I write female villains better. I mean, I'm better at writing women generally. I think it might be kind of cool to have a female villain going up against Honora. I like, yeah, like be like Vaughn's like aunt or something like that. Oh my goodness. Will you look up here, Star? No, you're not Star. Scorpio. He just looked at me there like, did you just call me Star? Yeah. Okay, what name should we come up with then for our female villain? We need a good villain name. What's a good villain name? Don't go, Scorpy. Don't go. No, 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 no. Don't go. Don't go. You have to stay up here and look cute. I demand it. Come back over here. That's your... Oh! You nearly knocked the camera off there. Mm-hmm. Look, you've knocked it all skew with. Whoops! Then I knocked it all skew with. Oh my god, this is the height of professionalism, this. Come here. Come on. Oh. Should be Vaughn's sister, because she'll be next in line to inherit. That's a good point. Yes. Vaughn's sister. Hello. Hi. You so cute. Yes, you are. You're the cutest putty ever. Ow. The cutest putty ever. Mm-hmm. The cutest putty in all the world. The cutest putty in all the world. In all the world evers. In all the world evers. Ow. That's claws right in my skin there, Scorpio. Ow! It's a good job you're so cute, Scorpio, because you don't have sharp teeth. And very sharp claws. Yes, you do have very sharp claws. Boop. Yeah. Ow! Ow, ow, ow. Stop it. So cute. Ow. Yeah. Yeah. I need to think of a villain name. So Fred suggested Paige. I've had a few characters called Paige before. Ah, ha, 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 ha. God's sake. I've got I think I had an Asari called Paige, actually, in Living Legends. I definitely had a Paige. I think she was Asari. Yes, she was. She was, because she remembered Shepard from before the war. I like the idea of something a bit theatrical, like, I don't know, Desdemona or something. I said it yesterday's live stream, I like the name Desdemona, I don't know. Something like that, something a bit, I don't know. Yvonne, I don't like Yvonne. I've never liked the name Yvonne. Sounds like a librarian. Or, I don't know. Ow! Ow! Ow. 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 What do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing? Hey? I need to raise you up a bit so they can see you. Oh! Or... Ah! I'm trying to think of names here, Scorpy. I'm brainstorming. Hmm? Hmm? Oh, look at you. Look at us. Look how sweet we are together. Look at that face. The face is like, let me go. Let me go now. My claws are within hitting distance of your eyes, human. Hmm? Hmm? Yes, villain names. I mean, Ferelden's are usually have like Celtic-y type names, don't they? But I mean, I know that's not necessarily a rule. But if we could think of a sort of vaguely Celtic-y kind of name. Think of a Celtic name, Scorpy. That sounds a bit dramatic. Could be a name for a villain. Hmm? Ooh, 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 careful, 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 careful. Look at him. Isn't he the sweetest little thing? Mm-hmm. You're the sweetest little thing, Scorpy. You're quite a big thing, really. Quite big for a putty. Serena. That's not a Celtic name, but Serena. What do you think? Or Selena, maybe. I was going to say Celine, but you've got Celine being Empress of all day, haven't you? Serena? I like Serena, maybe? Something like that. Ooh, Scorpio, where do you think you're going? No, you've committed yourself to this live stream now. This is now a Scorpio live stream. You have to stay. You have to. No, no. You have to stay. You have to. Those are the rules. He's trying to escape. Look at him. Look at him. Look at those eyes. Those are eyes that want to escape. You want to escape. I'm going to hold on to him for as long as I possibly can, which I don't think will be much longer. Scorpy. Scorpy, Scorpy, Scorpy. Why would you ever want to leave? Okay, I'll let you go. Oh dear. Right, I'll put me 2 camera back on so you don't have to have my face right in your face. Cat hair in your mouth now. Do you know what I need? I need something to name her after. That's what I need. Like, I'm such an idiot. I always like to have my characters' names like either named after someone, like named after a character from something else, or like a name that means something or something like that. I love thinking of names. But like, we could spend 2 hours on this. I'm sort of, do you know what? I'm a bit stuck on Serena. I don't know why. That's kind of appealing to me. What do we think? Do we think Serena? Sounds like a good name for a villain. Vaughn's sister, Serena. Vaughn and Serena. I don't know. I kind of like that for some reason. I think my tea is cool enough to drink yet. Well, I've just spilt loads of it, so you know, that's something. It's cool enough to drink. It's got fucking cat hair in it though. It's just cat hair everywhere. I can't escape the stuff. It's just everywhere. Look, it's tied around my bloody ring. It's in my mouth. Serena is fine, says Brian. Serena's fine. Serena, I feel like, okay, let's get a new page then, because we're doing villain things. So, we need. How do you spell villain? It's one of those words that I never quite. Is it even two L's? It might be two L's. A-I-N, Fred wrote it earlier. Villain. Anora's rival. Right, so Serena. How do you spell Serena? Serena. Serena. Fred is my spell check. Serena. Whoops, daisies. How do you spell Kendall? Kendall. Kendall. Right. So. How do you spell Vaughn? G. No, that's Vagnu. There's a G in it somewhere, isn't there? Fred, how do you spell Vaughn? Might have written Vaughn further up, actually. Don't think it wrote Vaughn. But there's a G in it somewhere, isn't it? It's not that, though. Or is it? Is it V-A-U-N-G? No, it's not that. There's a G in it somewhere. Is it that? Was I right the first time? It's fine, we know what I mean. Vaughn's sister. Is that one how you spell it? I don't fucking know. I can't spell things. Right, so. Look at how messy my handwriting's become. Look at it! Started off so neat. And lovely. So, she's Vaughn's sister. She would have to be his little sister, wouldn't she? Otherwise she would have been in line to inherit. Fred's making me laugh. That's not how you spell Vaughn. How do you spell Vaughn? I'm gonna have to. Oh fuck, we're up to 5 viewers. I wish I hadn't seen that. Dragon Age. Oh, there's an H in it. That's why. That's why it doesn't look right. Oh, for God's sake. No. There we go. Sister. There we go. Oh dear. There we go. That's how you write Vaughn. That's how you write Vaughn, Fred. Honestly, Fred, how could you not know that? So, right. So she's called Serena and she's Vaughn's sister. Good starting point. She would have to be his little sister. Because I believe Ferelden inheritance laws don't care about gender. So if she was his older sister, she would have been in line to inherit before him. But he is in line to inherit. So, ooh. Because what happens to the Kendall family? Look what Scorpio's done to me. It's left me all covered in scritches. Oops, a daisies. Oh, it's Kendall's. It's not Kendall, it's Kendall's. It's got an S on the end. Yes, because he was next in line to be the Earl of Denerim, but then... As a child, Vaughan was the pampered but little regarded son of the Earl. Urian was distant, and as a result gave the young noble whatever he wanted to keep him occupied. As a result of this indulgence, as well as a circle of sycophantic friends such as young Lords Jonley and Braden, Vaughan grew to manhood with no check on his desires, whims, or cruel impulses. While he could be charming and pleasant in order to get something he wanted, he was very cruel to those he felt were less, servants, and especially elven servants. Though he played sadistic tricks on human serving girls, he preyed upon elves specifically, seeing them as rats and vermin, and delighting in the long ago destruction of their empire. Other members of the Kendall's household attempted to protect the elven servants, but sometimes to little avail. Around 929, Dragon Vaughan raped and killed the alienage's blacksmith's daughter, who worked in the Earl of Denerim's estate as a chambermaid. Vaughan faced no repercussions for his crime. Vaughan can be seen during the Lands Meet if the Warden releases him from the estate dungeon, where he will vote in support of the Grey Wardens. But I mean, he's dead in my version of reality, so you know. Nothing really says whether the Earl of Denerim title is given back to the Kendalls or not. That's a point, because Earl Howe becomes the Earl of Denerim, doesn't he? But after Earl Howe's killed, who gets the title of Earl of Denerim? Well, up here it says his title is Earl of Denerim conditional. So presumably he does become the Earl of Denerim then. If he survives Origins, which he doesn't in my version of reality. So that could be interesting then, because she could actually be the Earl of Denerim, or the Earl Lesser of Denerim. So she's the Earl Lesser of Denerim. Just having little bullet points at the minute. I mean, is she married? Does she have children? These are things we need to think about. Are there any other members of the family surviving? We know that Uriel, whatever his name is, dies. He either dies at Ostagar, or there's a rumour that Bodan can tell you that Vaughan hired assassins to have him killed on the way to Ostagar, and he was actually assassinated so that Vaughan could become the Earl of Denerim. That's a rumour that Bodan can tell you. But one way or the other, Uriel is dead. And Vaughan is dead in my version of reality. So say she inherits the earldom of Denerim and she becomes the Earl Lesser of Denerim after Allhow is deposed. So she's going to be quite a powerful and important person in the Landsmeet. But then, in a weird way, Vaughan's death has kind of worked out for her. So for her to have a vendetta against Elia for killing Vaughan, she would have to actually care about Vaughan. Like, she can't just be a sort of heartless, power-grabbing character. She also has to be someone who, like, genuinely believes that elves should, like, stay in their place, I think. I sometimes find it a bit hard to write villains. Because I just can't get into the mindset of a villain. I find it really difficult. Unless there's somebody who is, like, one of those, like, redeemable villains. This is my problem. My villains always become redeemable, I think, because I can't relate to a villain. I don't know. And I always want people to come good in the end. But no, if you're going to write a villain, you need to commit to them being a villain. Like, we need her to be someone who just genuinely thinks that, like, humans are superior and elves should be in their books, and is outraged at the idea that the hero of Ferelden is an elf, and that she's given the Arling of Amaranthine. Especially since she's the one who killed Vaughan. And then Shiani, who is the one who attacked Vaughan with a bottle and then got kidnapped by him, becomes the bloody ban of the alienage and also has a seat in the Landsmeet. I mean, that would infuriate her, wouldn't it? That would infuriate her. Okay. So what's she going to do about it, though? Is she actually going to try and get rid of Honora? If she's going to try and get rid of Honora, who is she planning to replace Honora? Is she going to, does she want to make herself queen? Alistair's dead. There's no known heirs left of the Theron bloodline, but that's not how the Ferelden monarchy works anyway. It's not a hereditary monarchy, it's an elected monarchy. Scorpio's back, hello. Got a bit of floof that needs defloofing. Got a bit of floof that needs defloofing. He gets little clumps of hair that just gather under his neck, and you can just grab them and just pull them out. It must be like something to do with the way he grooms himself or something. All the loose hair just gathers under his neck here, and he'll get a little clump, and you can just grab it and just pull it out like that. Very satisfying. Those are my headphones. Stop chewing them. Are you coming up? You can look cute while I'm rambling. That's how this partnership works. You look cute and I ramble. Don't chew my headphones. Hey, don't chew my headphones. Come up here. Come up here. Come up here. Hey. Yeah, the Ferelden monarchy, yeah, it's not a hereditary monarchy, you don't need to have a blood claim. It's an elected monarchy, so really you just have to put yourself forward and then get the Landsmeet to elect you. So she wouldn't even have to, like, kill Honora, really. She would just have to get the Landsmeet to vote to get rid of her. I mean, it's not going to happen, obviously, she's not going to win, because she's the villain, but, like, would that be her plan? To make herself queen? hello. Or would you have somebody else in mind? Is that what you think, Scorpio? You think she'd have someone else in mind? I think she'd be planning to make herself queen, maybe. No, okay. Oh, that's my camera. Oh, what are you doing? Oop. Put full cat cam on. Scorpio. Full cat cam. You're hogging the view a bit here, love. You okay? I mean, that's my keyboard. That I feel I'm a bit worried that you're gonna like accidentally open something that you're not meant to open, or just like end the live stream or something like that. So why don't you just hop over here? Whoops. No, Scorpy. Scorpy. Whoops. Oh, there goes the keyboard. Put the technical difficulty screen up, hang on. Whoop, there we go. That was the best screen you could have put up there. Eh? Yeah. You just like to cause chaos on dramas, don't you? You just like to cause chaos on dramas. Yeah. That's alright. Put the keyboard up there a bit, shall we? Yeah. Scopes. Oh, what are you doing? Wait, they can't even see you! That's his tail. It's an appropriate use of the technical difficulty screen. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Oh, you can't even see him. Hang on. Angle it down a bit. There he is. Say hello, Scorpy. Ooh. Scorpy, say hello. Say hello. Well, he's now just lying on my keyboard, so you know. Hopefully he doesn't hit anything he shouldn't. So, I can't even see him. He's there. He's there. He's there. Strategically lying underneath where they can see you. There's a putty, and you can't. They can't even see you. Please don't chew those cables. Scorpy, don't chew the cables. I'm quite tired. I think I've done too much thinky brainness. What do you think, Scorps? Do you think there's been a bit too much thinky brainness this morning? It's a Sunday. I'm not meant to use my thinky brain on a Sunday. What were we talking about? We were talking about Serena, our villain. I'll put her. Oh, the mouse is on the floor. I'll put the two camera one back on. Cause you might, yeah, you can just see a bit of Scorpy. Just see a little bit of him. There he is. You can see a little bit. Where is he? There he is. I mean, if I move it over a bit. See a bit more of him. He's there. Bless his little cotton socks. Scopes. this up? Could at least put your head here, and they could see your face. And just see your tail. Hey! Oh. Now he's put the kitten drama screen up. It's a very cute screen there. Very cute. Didn't I just say he should have put the kitten drama screen up instead of the technical difficulties one? And then he did it. You're too clever. You're too clever. So, yes, anyway, so we've got Serena. So she's going to be our villain. Who's like plotting against Honora and really doesn't like what Honora is doing for the elves. I like this. I think this is good. So we've got... And then like Vigil's Keep is going to have to tie into all the political stuff that's going on. So we're going to have like... You've got to bring in city elves into the Landsmeet. I like the idea of her bringing the Dalish into the Landsmeet as well. With what's her name? That begins with an L, doesn't it? The Dalish elf, the one who becomes the keeper after Zathrian dies. I like the idea that she gets like a place in the Landsmeet as well. So, Scorpio, will you just... Honestly, God's sake, stop it. You are causing dramas. They can't even see you. You're causing drama and they can't even see you. They can't even see you. What's the point of you if they can't see you? You're supposed to look cute. On camera. It's purring. So yes, for fuck's sake. There we go. So if we've got, I don't even know what I'm talking about. So we've got yes. She brings the Dalish elves into the Landsmeet. She brings the city elves into the Landsmeet. Eventually she's going to get rid of the alienages. And there aren't going to be alienages in Ferelden anymore. But I say she gets rid of them. They're sort of going to be rebranded and they're called Elven Districts. Because you can't just like get rid of the alienages and then be like, because, like, the elves live there. You can't just, like, kick them out and be like, you know, go and live with the humans now. That wouldn't really work. But she doesn't want them to be called alienages, and she doesn't want them to be, like, you know, forced to live in alienages. So they sort of become, yes, elven districts. And, like, the living conditions improve a little bit and stuff like that. It'll be a slow process, though. I'm not going to make it as some sort of, like, happy fairy tale, wonderful rainbow land where Honora just goes, oh, we're going to treat the elves equally now. And everybody goes, oh, yes, what a wonderful idea. And then the elves lived happily ever after. Because that's not how it would work in reality. And it wouldn't make for a very good story anyway. But, you know, they're fighting the good fight to try and, like, make things better for the elves. So you've got that, which is going to make her a bit unpopular with some of them. You've also got the Sir Corthrian thing. I think we could have a whole little mini short story about Sir Corthrian and how the fact that, like, Sir Corthrian was really loyal to Logain, and a lot of people are calling for her to be executed because of her loyalty to Logain, and Honora's like, well, yeah, but he was my father, and I don't want to execute someone who was loyal to my father, even if my father turned out to be a bit of a dick. So she sends her to join the Grey Wardens, and that's another thing that could maybe rub a few people up the wrong way. I just want her to kind of... She's a bit like Celine over in Olay, because Celine is kind of unpopular amongst the other nobles for similar reasons, because she tries to like make the lot of the elves a bit better. And that's what she faces so much like criticism for, and the fact that she doesn't want to invade anywhere. She wants to like forge peaceful diplomatic relations with places. She doesn't want to like invade and expand the empire. And Honora, I kind of want to be in a similar situation where she's trying to improve the lot of the elves. And I don't think like the whole nobility is going to gang up against her, just because of the way Ferelden culture is. Like, Ferelden culture is a lot more judging people based on their merits rather than like who they are. You know what I mean? Like their backgrounds. But obviously it's not completely free of prejudice. I mean, the Codex does state that the lot of elves is already better in Ferelden than it is anywhere else, but they're still second-class citizens. So, you know. But we could also have a story where, like, Celine and Honora meet. Ooh. I actually started writing a little fan fiction about how Josephine and Liliana met. You know how, because you can ask Liliana how her and Josephine met, and she talks about they were at some diplomatic event in Olay, and then they went to find a real party, right? That's kind of what she says. And I came up with this little short story idea where, like, Elia is in Olay, being, like, introduced to the Orlesian court, right? Because she's the hero of Ferelden. And her and Liliana and Josephine sort of get accidentally embroiled in... I think, like, I can't quite remember. I think Josephine was going to get kidnapped by somebody. And then Elia and Liliana were going to have to, like, run all around Val Royeaux trying to find her. It was going to be a funny story. But then, like, I don't know. I could never quite make it work. I have lots of little short story ideas like that. I just can't make them work. I just can't quite get them to come together. Thing is, I'm always more interested in characters than I am in stories. You know? I like the character. I just want to write just people sitting in rooms having conversations with each other. That's just all I want to write. And then I'm like, oh, you need a storyline. You're like, oh. You okay, Scorpy? Still refusing to let them see your face. You look like you're about to go to sleep. I feel like I'm about to go to sleep. I'm quite tired. My throat's quite sore because I've recorded 2 episodes of Mass Effect, which you may or may not end up seeing. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to upload them yet or not. I might be going to upload a Mass Effect playthrough. Possibly. But even if I do upload them, it won't be for a while yet. But I recorded 1 on Thursday, and then 1 on Friday, and then I did the live stream yesterday. I'm doing another live stream today, and my throat is just like, we're not used to you talking this much. Oh my god, you've even moved your tail in so they can't see that anymore. You just don't want to be on camera, do you, Scorpy? It's storylines are always such a pesky thing about writing fanfictions. They are. Do you understand now, Fred, how all of my stories become these massive, huge epics? Because this is what my head is like. Right, what we're doing today, this is what my head is like. I can't just go, oh, let's write this little short story about this one idea and leave it at that. No, my brain has to go, oh, but what if we brought in this? And then what if that happened? And then what if this character turned up, but they were actually related to this character? And then this other thing happened. And then that ties in with this other thing. And that's just what my brain does. I can't do short stories. I can't do short stories. I just can't do it. Sometimes, on the rare occasions where I will actually manage to write like an actual short story, I'm like, is that it? Like, this doesn't feel right. I don't really like reading short stories either, though, to be fair. I don't really see the point of them. So, you know. Hello, Scorpy. Hello. What are you looking at? Things only a putty can see. It's a putty dimension, isn't it? You know when they just look at something and you don't know what they're looking at? They're looking at the putty dimension. Only putties can see the putty dimension. Isn't that right, Scorpy? Yep. Hi behind you. I know. You've never been more right. Short stories are great if they're horror stories. Yeah. What's that one? I mean, it is actually like a full short story, but it starts off, the opening line is, what is it? The last man on earth sat alone in a room, there was a knock at the door. And it does then go on from there, and the story itself is actually quite boring and sort of just nothing in particular. But as an opening line, some people say that that's a horror story in one line. The last man on earth sat alone in a room, there was a knock at the door. What are you doing? No, don't go. No, Scorpy, don't go. No, don't go, Scorpy. Don't go. Don't go. Stay. 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 Oh, don't step on the keyboard. Oh, Scorpio. Scorpio, why do you have to cause chaos everywhere you go? Because you're a putty. I know. I know. You coming back over here? Scorpy. Or are you going to just sit out of sight of the camera, are you? Well, I'm going to put the camera on you. That's what I'm going to do. You think you can get away from the camera? No. I'm going to make you be on camera whether you like it or not, Scorps. Oh, hang on. You've moved me other camera. You're just a little chaos ball, aren't you? You're a ball of chaos. That's what you... What are you even doing? Don't bite it! What the hell? No. Me and you need to have some words about you respecting my property and not chewing everything. Oh! Oh, fuck. For sale, baby shoes never worn. Yeah, I've seen that one too. Hey, will you just stop chewing everything? It just... Scorpio, I swear to God. Living up to this channel's cat chaos description, I know. And we've had chocolate, so you know. How long have we been going? Like 2.5 hours? Feels like longer. Does it feel like longer to you, Scorps? Feels like longer. That's my pen. Scorpio, that's my pen. That's... No. You probably get ink in your mouth or something. Like, just don't. That's him right up against the microphone there, so that's probably lovely. You're just such a little arsehole, aren't you? Ooh. You're such a little arsehole. Yeah. It's a good thing you're cute. Cool. Get over here. Get over here where they can see you. See, another one of my short story ideas, which Fred actually read the beginning of, but I just couldn't quite make it work. I really struggled to make short stories work, and it was going to be called Euphoria, and it was the synthesis ending of Mass Effect, but then it's actually all an illusion. I still want to finish that one. I just couldn't quite make it work. What are you doing? Will you stop eating my flipping notebook? I swear to God, Scorpio, me and you are going to fall out. We're going to fall out. We are. And that's my pen. Stop it. Hey. Come over here. Come over here. Look. Come over here. Come over here. Come on. Gaff taper. One-line horror story. Severe tea shortage reaches 10th month. It's a horror story. You know what I like? This always makes me laugh. This is the most British thing ever, right? So in the shop I work in, the fridges used to just be open. And then to save energy, they put doors on the fridges, right? They didn't change the fridges, they just put doors on the fridges that were already there, right? And on these doors they put stickers that said, these doors help us conserve however much energy a year, right? Scorpio, will you stop changing my screens? Move your bumhole. Get. Swear to God, that bloody cat is going to be the absolute freaking death of me. You fucking stupid bloody there we go. Right. Yes, on the they've got these stickers on the doors, right, that say these doors allow us to save however much energy per year. That is enough for, it's something like 25,562 cups of tea or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like that. And I remember sitting there thinking that is the most British thing. We measure energy in how many cups of tea we could make. I just thought it was the most wonderful thing. And there was something else where they were measuring something in tea. I can't remember what that was now. But I saw something else where they were like, that's the equivalent of this many cups of tea. That's just how we measure everything in Britain. Everything is just measured by, like, it's the equivalent of this many cups of tea. Oh, man. Fred quite liked Euphoria. I liked Euphoria as well. I do want to finish Euphoria. I just couldn't quite make it work. I couldn't just couldn't quite. I open it up all the time and read it, and I'm like, I need to finish this. I was going to do it for Halloween, wasn't it? Are you being sick? I don't know if you saw that on camera, but he's just sicked up a lovely hairball. You going to sick up another one? Yeah? Yeah? You alright? It's the worst noise in the world, isn't it? There's no worse noise than a cat being sick. It's hairball season, isn't it? Yeah. You finished? Yeah? Well, now that you've just sicked up on my carpet. What was I talking about? One thing that can wake me up from the deepest sleep while the sound of the cat being sick, yeah. It's horrible, isn't it? And you just know it's not going to be on the lino. It's going to be on the carpet. They will move off the lino to get onto the carpet to be sick. For fuck's sake. In fact, mine quite often are sick on the stairs, which is like the most awkward place to clean. He wasn't sick on the stairs that time. That is an impressive hairball, though. Jesus Christ. It's about that big. What was I saying about Euphoria? Yeah. Yeah, I open it up all the time. I could never quite decide on an ending, though. I had like 4 or 5 different endings in mind. Couldn't decide on a definitive one. I couldn't decide if I wanted like a sort of... I mean, it was a horror story, so I didn't want like a happy ending, but like a sort of the hero's triumph kind of ending. Or like a really dystopian, horrific ending. Well, dystopian, but you know what I mean. Dystopian's the wrong word. Horrific! You know, like a just kind of like everything continues being awful kind of story. I was going to have a lot of people die. So, like, it would. I think at the end it was basically just going to be Liara. So I either wanted it to be like Liara triumphs, but everybody's dead. Or everything carries on being awful and the Reapers win. Because the idea was sort of like it was the synthesis ending, but then what the synthesis ending appears to be wasn't what actually happened. What actually happened was basically everybody became kind of indoctrinated, sort of. Well, not quite indoctrinated, but sort of like they had Reaper tech glued in them and everything that they were seeing wasn't what was actually there. You know, because the synthesis ending to me feels so fucking creepy when you watch that cutscene. It's so weird. I was like, this is the perfect setting for a horror story. So yeah, I was going to write it for Halloween. So I mean, I've got time to do it for. I mean, I was going to write it for Halloween like 5 years ago or something like that. But like, you know, I could maybe see if I could make it work. I need an ending though. That's the thing. Need an ending. Synthesis is very horror story, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it awful, the synthesis ending? I don't know why they needed to add in multiple endings. I don't get that. I don't get why they thought that. I mean, I know it's an RPG and there's meant to be like choices and things like that. But most RPGs function under the kind of, you make choices throughout the course of the game that then affect the ending. Not, you get to the ending and then have to make a choice. Like, it was just silly. And it's not what the Mass Effect series needed as an ending. The Mass Effect series needed, the Reapers die, we win, everybody lives happily ever after. That's what we needed. That's not what we got. What's the other one? The blue one. Is that the Control ending? Is Control blue? Is Destroy red? Synthesis is green, isn't it? Destroy is the best one. The whole thing about the catalyst and everything made no sense. Why does it appear as a little boy? What was the point of the little boy? I didn't get what the point of the little boy was. Like, if it was going to appear as anybody, you would think it would be like your love interest or something like that. The Control ending's a weird one. That one sort of always gets forgotten about. Because the game very much plays it as sort of like synthesis is meant to be the good ending, which I don't think many players agree with that. I've seen some people try to argue that synthesis is a good ending. Those people are weirdos. The thing I hate about the synthesis ending, which was actually my inspiration for writing Euphoria, I hate Edie's speech during the epilogue. Because she has this whole speech where she basically says, I am now alive because of the synthesis. Because I've had Reaper goop injected into me and become half organic, I am now alive, right? I am now finally alive. I'm not just an AI anymore, I'm finally alive, right? Which disregards Edie's entire story arc where she becomes alive in her own right throughout the course of the game. Like, you have a whole conversation with Edie in Mass Effect 3 where she's basically like, yeah, I'm alive. I'm not just an AI. I'm alive. I may not be organic, but I'm alive in my own right. And that's her whole story arc that she goes through, and she becomes alive. You know what? I may as well put it on pretty full cam at this point. She becomes alive, and then the synthesis ending just completely disregards that and goes, oh no, she wasn't really alive. She had to have Reaper gunk injected into her and then she became alive. That's how she really becomes alive. And I hated that so much that I thought I need to fix this. Because she was alive in her own right. And also those people who say that, oh, but Edie died. I mean, in my version of reality, Edie doesn't die. She doesn't. They find a way to bring her back. But even if you do go down the route of Edie dies during the Destroy ending, I think that's a sacrifice she would have been willing to make. Because you also have a conversation with Edie where she says the Reapers are vile. That is actually what she says, and that they deserve to be destroyed. And I think she would rather die than have Reaper stuff implanted in her. Anyway. Yeah, but I hate that. I hate that. Good scene with her. I'm now alive. You were alive anyway, Edie. And I'm not somebody who often believes that AI characters are alive. Like, Edie is about the only one in all of the sci-fi games and TV shows and everything that I've ever watched. Edie is pretty much the only AI that I've been convinced is actually, like, alive in her own right. Most of the rest of them I'm like, you're just acting like you're alive, but really it's just computer code. Can AI die? Philosophical question. Well, that's the question, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, I suppose if, like, all of their memory banks got wiped, that would count as death. ChatGPT is never going to be alive to me. No, I don't think. I've never used ChatGPT or any of those AI things, actually. I've never, ever, ever used them. I don't see what the point is. Like, I'd rather just think for myself. You know what I mean? One of my friends at work was saying that she'd been on ChatGPT. What is it? GPT. To ask for advice about what to do when she was anxious, and she went, you know what? He was really sweet and understanding. I understand why people get emotionally attached. And I was like, love, don't be getting emotionally attached to the AI chatbot. Yeah, no, I feel like I would find it weird. Oh, don't like the idea. I don't know. Oh, also, what do you think? Right, I saw a debate. This has just become a general video game talking live stream, but it's fine. We did a good amount of Dragon Age. We might get back to it in a minute. But I saw a debate. I can't remember where it was. some article or something in the comments or something like that, where people were debating about the effects of AI on video games. And one of the things they were talking about was getting rid of voice actors and just having it be like AI generated, because then you could have like interactive conversation, right? So you would have like AI characters who actually just react to what you say rather than it being scripted stuff, right? And part of me was a bit like, that's interesting. I mean, in some ways, it's an interesting idea, that because then you could have like truly unique playthroughs. Although I think in RPGs everybody's playthrough is quite unique anyway. I mean, I think you just often don't realise how unique your playthrough was until you start talking to other gamers. But as much as that's an interesting idea, voice actors are so talented. Like, I am fascinated by, like, actors generally, but voice actors particularly voice actors who do a lot of video game work. I think it's such a particular talent, and they can put so much, like, I mean, it endlessly fascinates me comparing female shepherd to male shepherd when you watch their scenes side by side, because femme shep, there is so much emotion in her voice and the things that she makes me feel just by the way she says stuff. Meanwhile, male shepherd, not so much. And it's funny sometimes when you watch their scenes side by side, and the one that always gets, oh, Scorpio's back, hello. The one that always gets me is in the, don't sit on my keyboard! He hasn't opened any screens up, has he? No. If I put camera one back on, you can see his little head. Just yeah, the one that always gets me is if you do the Liara romance, and then at the end of Mass Effect 3, if she's with you on the final charge and she gets hit by whatever it is, and you put her on the shuttle, right, and she says, don't leave me behind, or whatever, and Shepard says, you mean everything to me, right? That's it. I swear to God, Scorpio, would you just get your fat arse off my keyboard? Do you know what, I might unplug my keyboard. Which one's my keyboard? I don't want to accidentally unplug my microphone. That would be bad. That one, the keyboard. That was the keyboard. Right, so you can't open up anything because my keyboard's not plugged in. You've got some of Star's fur on you. Yes, so that line, you mean everything to me, right? When the first time I played through Mass Effect, right, that moment, like, literally broke me as a human. There is so much, you can hear her voice crack as she's saying it, right? And she goes, you mean everything to me, right? And it's like, it's just so, I mean, honestly, I couldn't deal with it. I had to, like, properly pause the game and go for a walk, right? It was so, you watch the male shepherd version of that, and he's like, Liara, you mean everything to me. I was watching that on YouTube and I was like, wow. Not really feeling it. And I think, oh, look at his little face. And I don't know, I just think, could an AI ever really get the emotion across in the same way? Do you think they could? Do you think, I mean, maybe they could. Maybe they could just imitate it in the right, but how would an AI know what moments to imitate what right emotions? And also, what about all that wasted talent? If you get rid of voice actors, you're still gonna have all these people with all this talent. You know? Like, why do people think we humans are put on this earth? If not to, you know, utilise the talents that we have and the passions that we have. Oh no, let's just give it over to AIs. Scorpio, what are you doing? You just put your head back where they can see you. And stop chewing things. Look over there. Look up here. Yeah, it makes me very uncomfortable as well when they have like AIs like writing stories and things like that. You think, what? You're missing the point of why we write stories. We write stories to express ourselves as humans, to get our personal life experience across in a form that other people can, you know, relate to and things like that. And AI doesn't have a reason to write a story. Scorpio. I am going to throw you out the window if you don't behave. I mean, I'm not actually going to throw you out the window. I threatened to. Same with AI art. Yeah, I know. AI art is just... It's just nothing, isn't it? When you see, like, AI pictures flash up and things like... Flash up. You know what I mean? When you're looking at, like, fan art and stuff like that, and it's the AI-generated ones, it's just be like, eh... Don't chew my microphone! Yes, that's the camera. Well done. You're winking at me, so I wink back. You okay? Yeah. I think the AI thing will continue. Do you think it's just a fad? Do you think it'll just kind of dissipate? I think there's a real danger sometimes when you look at like the world and you just sort of assume it's going to keep heading in the same direction that it's currently heading. But when you look at history, history doesn't tend to do that. It takes all sorts of weird dips and dives here, there and everywhere. You can't necessarily assume that things are just going to carry on in the trajectory that they're headed right now. There's nothing to suggest that AI is still going to really be a thing in, say, 100 years. Another thing I think is quite interesting is we've had so much advancement very quickly over the last 100 years or so that I think when people are writing like stories set in the future or imagining what the future might be like, we assume there's just going to be more and more advancement and it's going to keep advancing and advancing. But when you look at the majority of human history, there were like centuries and centuries, sometimes even thousands of years that passed with like pretty much no advancement at all. Like everything just kind of stayed the same. And I mean, I know the more advanced technology gets, it can then go on to create even more advanced technology. So I suppose there is this kind of idea that, you know, as advancement just speeds up and speeds up. But I don't know, I think at some point we'll hit a plateau where probably we'll have like quite a few centuries where we don't advance at all, really, at least not that much. But it's just that's not the world that we have grown up in as our generation. We've grown up in a world that's advancing and advancing and advancing, but that doesn't mean that we're not just going to hit a point where it like stops for a bit. I remember reading something about like about ancient Egypt, and it said like for thousands of years nothing changed, pretty much. Everything was just the same. Yeah. And what I also find is interesting is the things that cause advancements. Because we know that, like, wars always create technological advancements, don't they? Like, World War I created huge technological leaps forward. And social leaps forward as well, as did World War II. But another one that had never occurred to me until quite recently when I was reading about it was the Black Death caused leaps forward in advancements because it killed off half the population. so there weren't as many people to do the work. Actually, studying the aftermath of the Black Death is quite fascinating, because you've got this sort of situation where like half the population was gone, and it caused all sorts of like social knock-on effects. But yeah, there was a lot of like sort of technological advancements. Because they didn't have as many people to do the work, they had to find more efficient ways of doing the work. So you didn't have like 100 people who could go out and plough a field. You had to somehow plough that field with less people. So they sort of, invented things like the ploughs that the horses would drag along and things like that, because you didn't have the manpower for them all to go out and do it by hand. I thought that was really interesting. There's always like advancements seem to come from like really awful things. Anyway, I just find it interesting the way things evolve and why they evolve the way they do. Move this camera a bit so you can get a better view of Scorpy. Hello, Scorpy. Hello. You're on camera. It's a fad, says Fred. Yeah, I think it probably is a fad. We can go back to like the 70s and the 80s and things, and they all thought we were going to have flying cars, didn't they? But now, it wasn't... How long ago was it where there was this big thing where it was like, oh, in 5 years all the cars will be self-driving? I'm sure that was more than 5 years ago. That was going to be a big thing, wasn't it? All the cars were going to be self-driving, and everybody was freaking out because there were going to be self-driving cars everywhere. And I don't think I know anybody who's ever had a self-driving car. I don't think. Are they even a thing? Are there self-driving cars? A society where AI does everything just isn't feasible. Not unless you're going to get rid of money. If you were going to get rid of money and have some sort of perfect socialist kind of society where everybody is just given a lovely house and given enough food and nobody has to work and AI does everything. But I don't know if humans would be content with that kind of existence, to be honest. I feel like we would make trouble. I feel like we would, we need problems, I think. Because when people have perfect lives, they create problems to fix. That seems to be a thing. I don't think we want to live in that kind of paradise. Yes, if you replace everybody's jobs with AI, nobody works, and then nobody has money, and then there's nobody to spend the money on anything. So then even the business owners don't have money. So, You okay, Scorpy? We're having philosophical debates about the state of the world. We're meant to be talking about Dragon Age, but I feel like it's connected somehow. I like how Talkie live streams. I think they're cool. We have interesting conversations, don't we? And there's cats. So, what more can you want from life? Philosophy and cats. When the economy crashes. Yeah, exactly. Scorpy, why do you have to try and chew everything? So I could put the first bit of Euphoria that I wrote up on the Discord if you're interested in reading it. It's not very long. That was just like the opening that I had. What do you mean I'm holding down the control key? I am not holding down the control key. My keyboard isn't even plugged in. What have you done, Scorpio? My computer's doing things. What? Oh, Scorpio. Why do you have to make everything so difficult? Get that off your paw. Dipstick. What was I doing? Euphoria. See if I can find it. It'll be somewhere. I need to really sort out all my folders, you know. Fiction, Mass Effect, Euphoria. Be that one, would it? Whoops, daisies. That's the wrong thing. Scorpy's being a Scorpy. Or would it be? Would it be that one? Whoop. Well, it's 9,000 words. It's a short story, it's only 9,000 words. What? Scorpio, I think you've broken my computer. I think you've stepped on something that you shouldn't have stepped on. Oh, actually, no. The 9,000 words includes all of my planning bits of it. So that's not necessarily the... So I've got 3 chapters written. And they are all together. Then I've got a tiny bit of chapter 4 written. If I put the first 3 chapters up. Hello, Scorpio. They are... Well, they're 7,800 words. I love to know what you've done, Scorpio. Because the computer is acting as though I've got the control key held down. Like, the keyboard isn't even plugged in. Oh, I also had this in the universe where there was a male shepherd. Because I was like, if it's going to be a nightmare horror universe, then there needs to be a male shepherd. That's nightmare horror to me. I think he's awful. You know what it is? I mean, no offense to the voice actor. There is something about the way he played it, which I just find really... I don't know. He's just not likeable. He's just... I find him quite creepy, male shepherd. I don't know what it is. It's just something about him. I'm like, ooh. Ooh, I hate watching romance scenes with him and Leora. I cannot do it. I'm like, get your fucking hands off her. You okay? Yeah. Scorpio, stop chewing cables, I swear to God. I'm just rereading my own fan fiction now. Just leave me. It's fine. Scorpio, why? Get off. Get over there. Lipstick. Scorpio. Scorpio. Do you know what? We might move. Get over there. Move your bum hole. Jesus Christ. Right. What was I doing? I was gonna try and put this up on the Discord if I can. You're not making this easy, Scorpy. Right in my way, aren't you? You're right in my way. You're not even on camera. Oh, and now you've nicked me pen. He's nicked me pen. He's nicked me pen and he's fucked off. Like, I just... honestly. Right. So... If you're breaking my pen, I will be unhappy with you. I will. You looked at me there like I don't give a shit, love. I don't give a shit. Did you ever read chapter 3, Fred? I don't think you did. I think you only ever read chapter 1 and 2. This is riveting, isn't it? You just... It's fine, I'll be back with you in a minute. Right, okay, so... If I... Oh, Scorpio, I wish I knew what you'd done. I'm going to plug me thing back in. There we go. Right. So, and then I would need a... stop with Liara realising something was wrong. Yeah, I wrote another chapter after that. Oh god, we've got 4 viewers. Fucking hell, that's too much. That's too much pressure, guys. What am I doing? What am I doing? Google. Docs. And blank document and paste. Oh, piss off. There we go. And then if we call this woo! Do you know something? Scorpio has done something to this fucking computer and it's freaking me out. What has he done? Oh, you can get off. You pissed me off. Get down there. Dipstick. Oh, fucking hell, man. I've got an idea. Got an idea. That's the one. No, that's not the one. That is the one. Might be the one. That is the one. There we go. And there we go. Right, so Scorpio, you are starting to piss me off. Do you know that? It's a good thing you're cute. And then, what we want is share. Anyone with link, copy link, and Discord. Fuck's sake. Don't sit on my keyboard. Don't sit on my keyboard. Go back down there. Oh, do you know something? Do you know what? I will sort that out later. After the live stream. When I can figure out what the fuck Scorpio's done to me bloody computer. That was the mouse. There we go. I've unplugged the mouse and the keyboard now. So you can't ruin anything. Plug the mouse back in. So anyway. Imagine the random Dragon Age fan walking in on this, I know, right? This cat is going to be the death of me. Are you going to be the death of me? Are you? Yes. Yes. Yes, you are. Oh, you're going now, are you? Are you going? Absolutely. Honestly, he's in such a mischief. Look what he's done to my camera. For sake. Do you know what? I'm going to put full cat cam back on. Since we're apparently just talking about shit. Right, have I finished my tea? Oh, I have. Oh, I don't have any tea left. That's no good at all. We've been going for 3 hours. It feels like a lot longer. Is it just me or does it feel like a lot longer? Look at him sitting down there, looking all innocent. Causing nothing but drama. So, I mean, I think we done a little bit of progress on Dragon Age. Come up with a villain and everything. You know? It's not been a complete waste of time, this live stream. I've had an interesting conversation about Mass Effect and AI. See, I've got a whole Mass Effect world that I want laid out as well. I've got a whole post-war world for Mass Effect, which is why I don't want them to do a game that's set after the war. Because I've got a whole post-war world. I've got a post-war world. I know what happens. And if they do a game set after the war, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to lose my shit. Actually, what I was going to talk to you about. So, Living Legends, right, is the fan fiction, the Mass Effect fan fiction that I've uploaded a good deal of on fanfiction.net, although I can't get into my fanfiction account anymore. I haven't been able to for months. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get back into the account. I need somewhere new to start uploading fanfiction to anyway, if I'm going to start uploading again. I don't know where. I can't find a fanfiction site I actually like. I'm going to have to just settle for something. But what I was going to say is I've been sort of planning what's going to happen in Living Legends, because I am still writing it. I know I haven't like updated it in ages, but like I am still writing it. But so Samara's in it, right? So it's set 200 years after the war, right? And Samara's in it. And Samara doesn't follow the Justicar code anymore. So I've changed her a little bit, right? So she doesn't follow the Justicar code anymore. Because she was the last Justicar. She was the last surviving Justicar. I'm thinking of giving her a love interest. I was trying to work out... I was trying to work out how I could make that believable. But yeah. What do we think? Do we think Samara could have a love interest? Bearing in mind she'd be like well over 1,000 years old at this point. I've sort of got her as being like old even by Asari standards. But yeah, that was it. That was it. I was just like, do you think we could realistically give Samara a love interest? We're debating whether Mass Effect 5 is going to be post Reaper War. I know everybody seems to think it is, but it's like the little teaser trailer that we got showed Liara going to the original Normandy crash site, and I'm like, that only makes sense if it's set between Mass Effect 1 and 2. If she's like going there, I don't see why she would go there after the war. That doesn't make sense. In Fred's planned Star Trek crossover, Samara gets in the thing with Captain Picard. Wow. Yeah, but it's just like in the game, of course, she says that part of my life is over. You can sort of have a bit of a romantic interest thing with her in the Citadel DLC, but I don't think you ever actually get to sleep with her. Unless you do it headcanon-ing. But I wouldn't want my Shepard sleeping with her anyway, because I feel like Samara... In fact, I've got this whole scene in Living Legends where Samara says that she thinks of Shepard as a daughter. And that's kind of the dynamic that they have. But like I say, I've changed Samara a bit, because like what happens is... I've got my version of the post-war galaxy is like, it's very disjointed. It's not like everything just comes back together and civilization rebuilds and everything's wonderful. Everything becomes very disjointed and they all become very separated from each other. And Samara goes back to Asari space. Like my version, she fought in the final battle on Earth, and then she goes back to Asari space to fight Falair. Right. But the relay isn't fixed at this point, so she has to like... It's like a really long journey. And she goes back to Asari space and she finds Falair. And then her and Falair sort of team up as this kind of mother-daughter duo and go around solving crimes and things like that in Asari space, because Asari space becomes quite lawless. That's sort of a general overview. But like the whole thing when you're at the monastery in Mass Effect 3 and you have to stop Samara from killing herself, it's because to adhere to the code she can't let an Ardat Yokshi live outside a monastery. Right? So the only way for her to not kill Falair is for her to kill herself. At least that's how she sees it. But then Falair is like, oh, I'll just stay here on my own. But then I was thinking, like, if she's then going to take Falair from the monastery and her and Falair are going to go flying around the galaxy together, we're going to have to get to a point where Samara's not really adhering to the code anymore. And I think it's going to be like a gradual sort of thing. Like, you know, she is the last surviving Justicar. There's no Justicars left. And eventually she just stops following the code. That doesn't mean that she becomes a terrible person who, like, does unjust things, but she doesn't necessarily have to adhere to the code perfectly. And then 200 years go by, and Shepard, who has a longer lifespan because of her implants, are you keeping up? Travels into Asari space and runs into Samara. And she encounters this Samara who's a little bit different. Not like hugely different, but a little bit different, and doesn't follow the code anymore. At least not strictly. So... yeah. So, yeah, she's already, like, a little bit different. And then throughout the course of Living Legends, let's just say some shit is gonna happen. I won't elaborate, because, you know, spoilers, if I ever get around to writing it. But some shit is gonna happen. And then eventually, I feel like we're gonna get to the, gunk in my ring that I can't clean up. It's one of those rings that spins and gets gunk underneath it. It's very hard to clean. Anyway, yeah, so like nearer to the end of Living Legends. She's gone through some shit, let's say that. She's gone through some shit. And I just like the idea of her having just a little love interest. Not as like a kind of like happily ever after, let's go and raise a family together or anything like that. Because, you know, but like she just kind of, and I love writing scenes between her and Shepard because I think they have such a fascinating friendship. I just think it's such an interesting dynamic between them. And I think Samara actually has quite a playful side to her, like sort of kind of mischievous. There's something about her. I think you can see, when she talks about herself when she was younger, and she was this kind of rebellious Asari maiden running around the galaxy as a mercenary, sleeping with people and blowing things up and being reckless and all of that kind of stuff. And you can see elements of her. You can see elements of that reckless young Asari in her from time to time. They sort of come out a little bit, and I like the idea that like her and Samara, that like that Shepard just brings that sort of youthfulness out of her, because that's what friends do. Like, good friends bring out the best sides of us, don't they? And I like the idea that her and Shepard are just like have this little. Also, my Shepard's quite different as well. My Shepard's she's become a bit jaded and a little bit. She's ended up with this longer lifespan because of her implants, but she's a bit bitter about it. She sort of feels a bit kind of like, why am I the one who always lives and everybody around me dies? And she's like, you know, a 200-odd-year-old human by this point, and she's just a bit grumpy. So she's quite different as well, but I love writing scenes between them. I think it's such an interesting friendship dynamic. Samara's just such an interesting character. She's just so interesting. She seems to turn up in all of my fanfictions. I always just find a way to shoehorn Samara in somewhere. I'm like, we need to have a bit of Samara in our lives. I'm debating whether or not Shepard survives. Just right, my Shepard survives. But I came up with like a special way for her to survive. She doesn't just survive. She is preserved by the catalyst for reasons. Because I also have a immediately post-war fanfiction that I'm writing. I'm writing so many fanfictions. So many. It's called Consequences. And that's about like the immediate aftermath of the war. It's quite good actually. Even if I do say so myself, I go back and reread the chapters that I've written of it, and I'm like, you know what, this is really good, bloody good. I should actually make an effort to finish it. And then we've got the Ostwick fanfiction. I mean, honestly, it's just, I can't keep up with myself. I really can't. But you know, but this is the stuff that keeps me sane. This is the stuff that, like, when I'm walking around the shop, this is the stuff that's going through my head. When there's like real life stuff going on that I want to get away from for a little bit, I escape into fanfiction worlds. That's the whole point of me doing them. It's not really so that I can finish them and have them as fully uploaded, completed things. It's just what I do to stay sane in life. Just invent little fan fictions in my head. You wouldn't want them to bring Shepard back from Mass Effect 5? Me neither. Leave Shepard be. I don't want Mass Effect 5 to touch the original trilogy at all. I don't even want Liara to come back. I don't want anybody to come back. I don't want it to be post-war. I want it to be pre-trilogy. That's what I want it to be. I mean, I would love more Mass Effect games, but not that follow on from the Mass Effect story. I think the Mass Effect trilogy should just stay as it is. I would love more stories set in the Mass Effect universe, but leave the trilogy alone. I'm like... I mean, that was one of the things I actually liked about Andromeda. I think they did quite well in sort of like... It did feel Mass Effect-y. I mean, I know it didn't really feel like a BioWare game, but it felt like Mass Effect, but it didn't interfere with the original trilogy. And I sort of liked that. I think they gave up on it too quickly. Yeah, I would love just like a little self-contained game that has nothing to do with the trilogy. Like a Citadel game would be amazing. We just get to walk around the Citadel. I'd be happy to just have a Citadel game where you never even leave the Citadel. Just go around doing Citadel things. I think that would be cool. Or like Ilium or something like that. I think a game set on Ilium could be quite interesting. Or Omega. An Omega game. That could be hilarious. Run around as one of Arya's goons. That would be so cool. So yeah, more games set in the Mass Effect universe, all for it. Games that touch the Mass Effect storyline? No. Absolutely not. Leave it be. Leave the trilogy alone. Just leave it. Let it exist in its perfect little world. Yeah. But yeah, if Mass Effect 5 is set after the war, I will be so devastated. Because I was like, I've got my own post-war world. It's mine. It's mine. And I mean, I know it's fan fiction, so it doesn't need to adhere to the canon, but I like my fan fiction to adhere to the canon. And I want the canon to not touch the post-war. Like, please don't. Leave my little fan fictions alone. I would rather there was never another Mass Effect game again than there was a Mass Effect game set after the war. Honestly. Also, I don't necessarily trust the writers with the Mass Effect universe. Do you know what I mean? I don't trust them. I'm scared about what they'll do, particularly with the Asari. Particularly with the Asari. Because you know all the controversy around the Tosh storyline in Veilguard. I wasn't bothered by the Tosh storyline. It didn't bother me. But I do think they could have written it better. And I'm worried about what they're going to do with the Asari. I'm worried in this day and age. There was a really stupid codex entry in Andromeda, actually, where they were talking about the Asari, because the Asari are a monogendered race, right? So they're not actually male or female, they're just Asari, right? But that would mean that, like, culturally, they don't have a concept of gender, right? And everybody refers to them as she, and women, and her, and all of that, because they look like women, right? But the Asari themselves, I don't think would really have much of a concept of what that means, right? And there was a really stupid codex entry in Mass Effect Andromeda that some Asari prefer to be called he. And I'm like, no they don't! That's not a thing that's ever appeared in the game. And it makes no logical sense, because an Asari would not have a concept. An Asari would not have a concept of what being a man or a woman is. They would have absolutely no reason to have a preference one way or another, or care that the rest of the galaxy refers to them with female pronouns, right? And I mean, that was just a codex entry, and it made me laugh. And I was like, it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what the Asari are. And then I'm just I'm worried. You leave my beautiful Asari alone. Let them be. Felt like it was handled with a sledgehammer. What, the Tosh storyline? Yeah, I thought that. And I think the thing that Dragon Age always did so well with writing, like, sexuality was not making a big deal out of it. So, like, when you consider that Origins came out in 2007, 9, 10, 7. It came out sometime around then, which is hardly like the Dark Ages, I know, but like it was still a time where it maybe wasn't exactly commonplace to have like gay characters wandering around, like certainly not protagonists and things like that. And you had like Leliana and Severin, who were both bisexual romance options, and it just wasn't made a big deal out of. And then in like, I mean, you did have the situation with Dorian in Inquisition where his father had like used blood magic to try to make him into women. But I think that more stemmed from the fact that he wanted him to have children, to continue the family line. I think that there was hinted that it was that he wasn't sort of, he didn't have a problem with the fact Dorian was gay. He had a problem with the fact that he refused to impregnate a woman. That is what that is, you know. And the Dragon Age universe was always so good at just like, and if you read The Masked Empire, where you've got Selene having an affair with Briala, right? And when it becomes public knowledge, it's a huge scandal. Because Briala is an elf, it is never even mentioned that Briala is a woman. And I liked that so much. I like the fact that they showed how utterly accepting Thedas is of people's sexualities by barely even mentioning it. And with Tosh's storyline, I think it was like, you've just showed that they don't accept it because you've made such a huge deal about it. And I was like, I feel like you've mishandled it a little bit there. Yeah. The sorry being referred to as she and having a concept of gender makes sense because they have thousands of years of contact with species that have 2 or more genders. Yes, having a concept of gender in relation to other people, but in relation to themselves and their own personal identity, why would they? Why would an Asari identify as either a man or a woman? Because that's why that Codex entry in Andromeda just made me laugh. That like some Asari prefer to be called he. Like, why would that ever be a thing? That doesn't make sense. like you know, I can't imagine an Asari would care one way or the other, really. Also, they're I don't know. I think the Asari are so well written as well. I think they come across as very feminine and like maternal, and they are very motherly, but they do seem sort of genderless. I think, personally, when like you have like when you're interacting with them in the game, they don't seem like women particularly. They do seem sort of like something else, and I sort of like that. I think they're very well written, and I'm worried that they won't be as well written going forward. I think they're just so well written in the original trilogy. Andromeda seemed to just completely disregard everything that made each species unique, though, which was odd, I thought. Anyway, Fred's gonna have to leave in a bit, that's alright. we're probably going to wrap up. We seem to have stopped talking about Dragon Age. It's becoming just a general talking live stream. Should I read? Okay. Should I read? With lots of cats and chaos. I don't know what the fuck Scorpio's done to my bloody computer. But I will try to upload Euphoria to the Discord, if such a thing is possible. It was a good little story. Just need to come up with an ending for it. Solarians have a queen bee structure, few females at the top, mostly males to do most of the work. I didn't know that. We don't see any female Solarians until Andromeda. Is that right? Or is the Solarian Councillor female? Or is one of the Solarian Councillors? Is there a female Solarian? Hang on, something's just popped into my head. Was there a female Solarian in Mass Effect 3 somewhere? Oh, there was, wasn't there? Delatras? She was a woman, wasn't she? Yeah. Actually, we only ever saw one female Turian in the original trilogy as well, didn't we? Which is what's her name from the Omega DLC. Although I think there are a few kicking around in the Citadel DLC, aren't they? Like Garrus can flirt with one. But I think it was kind of funny that they got to Mass Effect 3 and thought, oh shit, we don't have any women for any of the other races. Like, we've only had male Turians, we've only had male Solarians, we've only had male Krogan. I don't think do we ever encounter a female Volus or Elcor? Or Drell? Do we ever encounter a female Batarian? Oh, I don't know. Do we ever encounter a female Batarian? I think one of the races there are Hanar, but I don't know whether you could. I don't know whether Hanar even have gender, do they? And I always think it's funny that, like, with the Quarians, there's this huge debate about what the Quarians look like under the suits, right? Nobody seems to care what the Volus look like under their suits. I want to know what the Volus look like. I imagine they look like little moles. That's what I imagine them like. Little mole people. I think that's what the Volus look like. Little mole people. Is that all the races? What other races are there? It's the Asari, the Solarians, Turians, humans, obviously, Drell, Hanar, Batarians, Volus, Elcor, Quarians. God, that's 10. I didn't realise there were that many races in the Mass Effect universe. There's whatever the Shadow Broker is, but I don't think we really count him. I suppose there's the Rachni. I suppose they're a thing. I love the Mass Effect universe so much, and I'm just so nervous about what they're going to do to it. It means so much to me that I mean, Andromeda was kind of. I always say I don't think Andromeda was a bad game. I think it was a bad Mass Effect game, but it was Mass Effect-y enough, and because it was set in a different galaxy, I can sort of just, leave it. It's fine. We can pretend it didn't happen if we don't want to think that it happened. It's in a different galaxy. It's away. If they're going to do Mass Effect 5 and friggin' Liara's going to be in it and it's going to be tied to the original trilogy, if they fuck it up, I swear to God, it's going to be a disaster. I hope you don't get as disappointed as some Dragon Age fans got with Veilguard. Yeah, I was quite lucky, I think, because I actually quite enjoyed Veilguard. I think it tied up the story quite nicely. I think it's left us in a good place. If there's never another Dragon Age game, I think we're alright. I mean, it could have been better, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, but the Mass Effect trilogy isn't perfect. I mean, it is, it's perfect in its own little flawed way, I suppose. But also, I think some things are just of their time. Do you know what I mean? I don't think... Some things just need to be left alone. Like, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Just let it be. Oh, anyway. Well, we've been going for 3.5 hours. My voice is close to giving out. How many viewers have we got? Oh, I shut down all my things. Because my computer was being weird. YouTube Studio. Content. Live. Three. Three's a good number. I like 3. So, should we wrap things up then? We did do some Dragon Age stuff. Then we talked a lot about Mass Effect, which I thought might happen because I'm in a Mass Effect phase at the minute. That's alright. I enjoy our little talky live stream where we're just sitting here and talk. It's fine, we don't have to talk about anything in particular, do we? Just have to talk. Talking's fine. Oh, the vulture! I forgot about the vulture. And the Geth, I do, yeah. And the Protheans, yeah. And the Keepers, I suppose. You could count them as race, couldn't you? Yeah, anyway, so we can wrap up there. And we will do another Dragon Age talkie live stream. It'll definitely be a talkie live stream in 2 weeks, I think. I'm trying to do them every 2 weeks. So there won't be one next week, but there should hopefully be one the week after. Hopefully. But quite enjoyed this. We did do a bit of work on Dragon Age. We've got a villain, Serena, our villain. We'll work on her. Yeah. I'm so bad at planning things, you know. My brain is just a big mess of messiness, and then when I try to write it all down, I just confuse myself even more. Like, it's clearer when it's just in my head. I try and write it down, and I'm like, oh shit. But it's fun. It's fun to just sit here and talk about theoretical fan fictions and things, isn't it? Anyway, so my darlings, next week we will have an Outer Worlds live stream on Saturday. And the week after that, we'll have another Outer Worlds live stream. And we'll have a talkie live stream on the Sunday. But, until then, my lovelies, I suppose I shall say farewell to you. I suppose I shall. I shall hit stop streaming. And then there'll be an awkward pause where I'm just doing stuff, but that's fine. I